Glenn Clark Radio, talking about the sports you do and don't know, both within and surrounding Baltimore. Don't ask him about preseason games, oh no, stuffing things in Griffin Basso. Despite it being on the internet, he can call it what he wants, so Glenn Clark Radio, Glenn Clark Radio, Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
3-2 went to the sweeper, and it's knocked down by Gonzalez. He can't pick it up in time, and Holiday scores standing. 3-2 went to the sweeper, and it's knocked down by Gonzalez.
We show it twice. The Orioles do beat the Pirates 3-2 yesterday. Kate Povich was man of the match for his efforts over 5 2/3 innings. Not brilliant necessarily, but plenty good enough. And the Orioles continue their recent winning ways. It is a Friday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. That was courtesy of Masson. I am Glenn Clark. He is Griffin, and if it's a Friday, that means the Chief Grand Poobah, Stan the Fan Charles, is back in studio with us. Good morning, Stanley.
Good morning, guys. Good morning.
Fun day to be at the ballpark. Griffin and I were sitting out baking in the sun in right field yesterday. It was a hot day.
You went with Griffin?
I went with Griffin.
He was so lucky. Yeah. He was the lucky winner.
Griffin gets very excitable at baseball games. He's very excitable.
What does that mean?
He's got his whole week's salaries on the game.
It's
yeah.
a good point.
Trust me, I'm not betting on the Orioles.
Well, you should be recently.
Yeah,
fair.
but
Would you bet on the Pirates?
I'm not betting on the Pirates either.
Yeah, it was a fun day. We had a good time as the Orioles win again. Obviously, bigger Orioles news, and we will get to that in a second. Coming up on the program today, AQ Shipley, former Ravens offensive lineman, part of the Pat McAfee program. He goes in the trenches. And while all of us were talking about how much we thought in particular, the right side of the offensive line struggled for the Orioles on Sunday, the Ravens on Sunday.
Same thing.
He says they were the number one offensive line in football this week. So we'll talk about the intricacy of that with our guy AQ Shipley coming up a little bit later on as they get ready to go up against Myles Garrett on Sunday, who I hear is good. I hear.
Who'd you hear that
has
from?
the ability. I know it's a very unpopular.
I told him.
Really?
See, you gotta trust your source a little bit. You
Yeah.
gotta think about that. Hey, 2025 Navy football single game tickets are on sale now. Don't miss the exciting home game schedule this year. The games feature exciting American Athletic Conference matchups, including the Commander-in-Chief rival Air Force on Saturday, October 4th. Don't miss all of the exciting action in historic Annapolis at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium, and get your tickets today at NavySports.com. Stanley, the big news, courtesy of The Athletic yesterday. Apparently, it's not really news. It happened some time ago.
Yeah.
The Orioles, some people wondered if they were firing Mike Elias at the end of the season. It's apparently the exact opposite. They've promoted him to president of baseball operations this past winter and just told no one.
No one, yeah.
Which is weird. I can't lie about that. That's kind of odd. I got a text from our buddy Luke Jackson yesterday and said, why would this come out now? And I think we found that out pretty quickly. The answer is because they started a search for a general manager. And as we found out, they've already attempted to talk to at least one that we know of candidate to be a new general manager. And lots
Who is that candidate?
The assistant GM in Chicago, whose name I've already forgotten.
Okay.
I apologize.
Carter Smith, I think.
No. Hang on, I'll tell you in 1 second. I will tell you in 1 second, Stanley, because I'm a professional.
It's with the Cubs, right?
No, the White Sox.
The White Sox.
Yeah, I know exactly how you feel.
Okay.
Josh Barfield.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Josh.
Jesse's son.
I don't know if they're related. Couldn't tell you. Josh Barfield, this was from Andy Koska yesterday. He reported the Orioles have spoken with the Chicago White Sox assistant general manager Josh Barfield about a potential GM role under president of baseball operations Mike Elias. Two sources said Barfield was previously director of player development with the Diamondbacks. Then Mark Feinsand of MLB.com and the MLB Network followed up by saying, according to a source, the Orioles indeed had interest in White Sox assistant GM Josh Barfield for a potential front office role, but Barfield plans to stay in Chicago and will not be joining Baltimore.
Okay.
So that would be the reason why the news comes out, right? Like, somebody finds out, hey, did you know the Orioles talked to Josh Barfield about being GM? And then somebody said, well, that's weird. I'm pretty sure they have a GM. Why would they be talking to him about being the GM when Mike Elias is the GM? So then you poke around and you find out the reasoning.
I find, look, I understand, and to a certain extent I ascribe to that old military thing, loose lips sink ships.
Mm-hmm.
But my God, the Orioles are so tight-lipped about everything, and this comes from Mike.
Right.
This is not a
This
David
is
Rubenstein
correct.
or Michael Arrighetti thing. Why wouldn't you want to announce that?
That's the part that is very confusing to me, and I don't know if it's because inherently they just weren't planning a transition. So
yeah,
to
but
them,
they do this with everything.
Oh,
like Brandon Hyde's contract, you never knew when it was going to run out, you never heard anything. You know, that he got extended, or they treat everything like it's a top military secret.
This one, I guess because they intended for Mike Elias to be the general manager this season anyway.
Right.
They just didn't feel like there really was a change, and maybe they were hoping to wait until the end of the year in order to announce it. But if you're openly talking to candidates for a role that, to our knowledge, doesn't exist, then obviously it's not going to wait till then. So yes, to your point, it is.
But the whole thing, when the season kind of you knew was going south by June 1st, you pretty much knew. And there was all this conjecture that, is Mike Elias going to be here and all that. Well, they had already basically, they let fans enter into a lot of specious discussion and angst and, people getting down on a lot. They knew he was going to be here.
Presumably, unless there was someone involved in the process who said, I'm not committing to the fact that he's even going to be here as president of baseball operations next year. But to your point, it does seem that way. It opened up, it gave us more questions than answers, obviously, with the questions kind of starting with, well, what is the structure of this front office moving forward? Is Mike Elias really the general manager, but his title is just different, and someone else is going to be allowed to be a figurehead general manager underneath him?
I would really, watching how he's handled who he's wanted to manage the team, it was one thing to choose Brandon Hyde when he chose him because it was going to be a long haul, and not bringing in like another Buck Showalter or something. Made perfect sense to start with a young
rebuild, right?
A rebuilding manager, But watching how he handles things, I feel like he will be the general manager.
And so I think it leads to a lot of. I think there's room in here for there to be a conversation about. Could it be a good thing if you had more defined front office roles? One of the suggestions that was pointed to me by someone in baseball said, would the Orioles be better off if Mike Elias was the president of baseball operations and his job was really the draft, right? Like, that's now what you're going to be doing moving forward. And major league decision-making was being made by a general manager. And to some extent, I could see that being an ideal circumstance, right? That for everything that Mike Elias has done, the draft seems to be his strength. And that, yes, as president of baseball operations, he's obviously going to have a word in other things, but you would hire a general manager specifically for trades.
To do like the legwork and strategize with him about the work ahead. It's kind of like a military structure.
The problem being your likelihood of hiring an established. Like I'll tell you, you know my friend Alan McCallum, I'm sure quite well. And Alan the other night.
Alan used to write for us.
Before we knew about this, Alan and I were just chatting.
Alan is a candidate for
No, I don't
job?
think he's going to get that role. Although anyway, I don't know. I think Alan knows baseball really well. But Alan and I were chatting. We went to a concert the other night, and he said, "I'm telling you, man. Like I have nothing against Mike Elias, but I love Mike Rizzo." And if somehow the Orioles could land Mike Rizzo,
right.
I would be really excited about that.
Right.
And I thought about it for a minute. And, when we got this news yesterday, Griffin and I were sitting at the ballpark, and I'm like, is there some world where you could hire Mike Rizzo to be the general manager? But I'm more and more convinced you're not going to get an established general manager that would want to come in and work under someone who might really actually be the general manager in their role as president of baseball operations.
Right.
Now, maybe that's not the case. Maybe Mike Elias really does want to see.
I mean, I'll throw Dan Duquette's name into the ring. I think he did a pretty darn good job
and
here.
Dan Duquette, what was the role in Toronto?
Dan was going to be what Mark Shapiro was.
He was going to be the president of baseball operations.
No, president of the team.
Of the team.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Not of baseball, of the
Correct.
Of the entirety. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's
And
what
they-
job Mark Shapiro
And they had a general manager. They had Anthropoulos working underneath that. Correct.
Correct. I believe so. Yeah.
And Anthropoulos seemed to have control over baseball decision. Now, to be fair, to your point, that's president of the team, not president of baseball operations.
Right.
So it's very hard for me to think that you're hiring a general manager that will have final say in this structure.
Right.
Which probably has something to do with why they would like. The first thought would be, why would the assistant general manager of the White Sox, who are going nowhere, not be interested in a general manager role in Baltimore?
If you think they're going nowhere, you haven't been paying attention.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Where are they going?
Yeah, Shane Smith.
They're going up at some point. Yeah, Shane Smith. Colson Montgomery.
Right.
Yeah. Luis Roberts only injured right now.
Mydroth.
Yeah, Chase Mydroth.
Kyle Teal.
Yep.
Look at you guys. Is
Edward
this what we're
Guerrero.
doing? Are we just
Edward-
naming White Sox?
Yeah, we are.
Ron Karkovic.
Sean Burke.
Maryland legend. But no, the answer would probably be because he's saying, I don't think this is a real general manager job. But I don't know that. I'm just speculating that would be the reason. And so
it's a little bit like whenever I was talking to people about the Orioles job when Elias was hired, people were like, I would talk to people. It's no big secret. I talked to Dan O'Dowd. He goes, the first thing I'd want to know is, what the hell does Brady Anderson do?
Mm-hmm.
And do I have the ability to
say,
move?
right.
He
I'm
doesn't belong
not
here.
interested.
And clearly that's what Mike Elias did. This person that they're going to hire has to understand that he's not really going to have the power of a general manager, in my opinion.
I think you're right, Stan, and there will be room. One of the conversations that was sort of coming up on Twitter yesterday is I think a lot of Orioles fans were keen on Skip Schumacher being the next manager of the team.
Yeah.
And the thought at the time was, well, Skip Schumacher might not want to work in a place where he has no say, no power.
Right.
If part of this restructuring is the ownership saying we need to have a more balanced share of power, it's not just all going to be
Mike Elias.
and maybe part of this. And again, the initial reporting from Brittany Giroli and Ken Rosenthal didn't really tell us anything about, not because I'm sure they tried. I just don't think they know that yet.
They're not very good reporters.
No, they're very good reporters. I just don't think all they were able to get was the factual statement of they're looking for a general manager. Right. If there's some level of, we want there to be a more shared power structure here, and perhaps maybe even the plan wasn't to hire a general manager originally, but maybe that became part of the plan as the season went on, and they saw, we need to figure this out, what this looks like.
And perhaps, I'm fingers crossed on this. How about Kim Ang as a meaningful general manager?
That was what I threw out yesterday, Stan. With Skip
Kim
Schumacher
Ang
as manager.
and the relationship with Skip Schumacher. Is that a possibility?
My gut
so.
says no, right?
But it's, I'll tell you what, I'll sign up for that.
I would sign up for it yesterday, and I think most baseball people would sign up for it yesterday. And I think Kim Eng is someone who represents a willingness to share power, that it's not important to Kim that she has all of the power. She can share power and control and decision-making.
Right.
And Skip Schumacher would be happy to have that shared as well. But it would require Mike Elias ceding an amount of power, and that's the part that we still don't know yet. Right. And our skepticism is that he's not going to be ceding power. He's still going to be the final say on all things, and this general manager be a figurehead. Now, again, we're just speculating because we don't have the full information yet. I'd be extraordinarily excited about the idea of, maybe even they reached out to Skip Schumacher, and Skip Schumacher said, not doing it without, there being a structure that works for me. Yeah. And suggest if we find that out in a few weeks, that was what this, I'll high five. We can do a show where we just high five each other.
High five,
right?
I'll high
100%.
Now in a few weeks, then when Mike Elias hires himself as general manager,
I don't think that's the way it's going to go.
Then what would be a high five?
It's interesting that they would be looking outside when he's got two trusted aide-de-camps, in Sig Mejdal and Matt Blood.
Well, they still have an assistant general manager in Yves Rosenbaum, on the staff, right? Yeah. They have, to your point, lots of seemingly internal candidates.
I forgot
which, again, might lead to the idea that ownership has suggested to Mike Elias, you have to look, this has to change for us. To your point, if you want to just read the tea leaves here a little bit, and the idea was going to be Mike Elias gets promoted to this other role, there's going to be a new general manager, you would say, well, why wouldn't it be one of the assistant general managers, one of the folks that has been very involved with Mike Elias?
Yeah.
And maybe that's because ownership said,
no,
we don't think this is fully working the way that it needs to work. We're not trying to tear it down. We don't want to rip it to studs and start all over again. But we think there needs to be a
change of furniture.
Correct.
In
and
the
some,
building.
Some fresh thoughts and maybe a different structure. And so, to your point, if they are looking outside the organization, that might suggest a willingness to consider other things and maybe a change in some way to the overall front office structure, and that it's not just Mike Elias's regime and his control and all of that, and they do want more shared power. That we'll have to learn in the coming weeks. We can't.
When you put up $1.7 billion, you don't want to feel like you're just a spectator in this. You want to feel like you're.
Well, with the caveat being that I think we all. I don't want to say this as fact. I have been told multiple times, and I think that we've seen it publicly, that David Rubenstein specifically just isn't going to be involved day to day in a micromanaging way. And not that I think anybody wants the owner to meddle and micromanage, but he's just the type of human that has bigger fish to fry, right? Like he's purchasing the
magnet. Kind of like me and
you. Yes, you and I.
Yeah.
Far too important things to do. I had to call Loyola Soccer yesterday.
Right.
I can't be bothered with matters like this.
Right.
Stan and I were holding up paddles for a pick segment.
I had to take the garbage out.
Exactly right. Why would you? You don't have time to be worrying yourself
about the day-to-day.
That's
why I have Colson.
Exactly right. He can run the day-to-day. You can take the garbage out. That's the way that it works around these parts. That's the structure here at Press Box. So we will find out, clearly. We only know one candidate at the moment. So it will be interesting to see. Is there a candidate at some point that does have general manager experience, that isn't a rising assistant, that is someone that maybe has one of the things that when I was talking about the Mike Rizzo conversation yesterday, someone pointed out Rizzo's too old school. It just wouldn't work with he and Mike Elias.
I don't see that.
The relationship.
No, I don't. Yeah,
and
I'm not saying they dislike each other or anything like that. I just don't see that being a good fit.
It doesn't seem like the right marriage. But there's a part of me that says, is that maybe exactly what this organization needs? That we've given completely the Pythagorean model, and there needs to be more balance of a traditional baseball mind, someone who is not. And by the way, the argument that Mike Rizzo is like anti-analytics, that's also not true. Not true at all.
No, but he's a scout. He's a scout at heart.
Right, comes from a more traditional baseball mindset. and that maybe there needs to be some influence.
That's why I like
that.
Duquette. I think Duquette comes from a very well-balanced place.
So whoever it is, I would make the argument that would be well served in this in a potential new front office structure to have someone that isn't just a Pythagorean thinker, someone who is more natural to baseball, scouting, old school methods, to introduce them or reintroduce them into the conversation within the front office. So it will be interesting to see if any of those names pop up as we find out who they're looking for a general
I doubt
manager.
they will, because those people are sort of
Dinosaurs.
they're more entrenched in their own beliefs. I think Mike will probably want somebody that's more malleable, unless this larger picture that we laid out, where it's all about, we want to get a big-time manager, and that manager wants somebody in between.
I still have not gotten the sense that opinion, which is shared by guys like you and I and many Orioles fans, is necessarily the opinion of the organization.
Yeah.
And again, we've still not seen any actual candidates other than Bob Nightingale months ago suggesting that Ryan Flaherty was going to be the top candidate for the job. There's been next to no reporting about any potential candidates. And that might very well be because they've just decided they weren't going to even consider the search until after the season was over.
Right.
And someone had suggested that to me recently, is that they're not actively searching for a manager in any way. Right. And so I don't know. I don't have the answer on that. I'm intrigued to an extent.
I mean, if I were going to hire Ryan Flaherty with his experience, and I have nothing against him.
Would your argument be you could just hire Tony Manzolino?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
A lot of
There's
people,
a proven guy that's done for 100 games, has done reasonably well with what he was handed, and then double-handed where they took 7 of your best players. away.
It's funny because somebody was asking me, but like, how do I really think Tony Manzolino has done? And I was like, I don't know how to measure Tony Manzolino, because the progress that I wanted to see from the Orioles wasn't really related to wins and losses. It was really related to the young core. I wanted to see, over the course of these last couple of months, some of these guys really step forward and look like different versions of themselves. The Kobe Mayos, the Colton Cowsers, the guys that have just...
We haven't seen that.
No, at all. No. And so it's a weird thing where they've been winning games.
They have a team of teasing talent. I mean, Gunnar Henderson, we know, is having a down year, but he's a known commodity. He's a known commodity. After that, yes, Jackson Holliday made very nice strides this year. But after that,
but I would still say Jackson Holliday isn't a known. He's still a...
No, he's a...
We are all pretty confident that Jackson Holliday is
going
to be
a very solid player.
Right,
yes.
But he's not yet a known...
But after that...
It's Jordan Westburg when healthy. That's it.
It's Westburg when healthy. Tyler O'Neill, can you coax 100 games out of Tyler O'Neill? And if so, why wouldn't you want him DHing only? But yet you got Basayo, who you're supposedly going to get DHing. It's a team of teasing talent. They need to go out this year, in addition to hiring a general manager and a manager, they need to bring somebody into that lineup that is a known quantity.
And presumably an outfielder.
Yeah.
At the moment.
Or a first baseman.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't exactly devastate me if they moved one from Ryan Mountcastle and Kobe Mayo.
No, it certainly wouldn't devastate me either. I guess the question becomes, are you just saying the two catchers are DHs when they're not catching, that they're not first basemen either?
I'm not convinced that the two catchers are both going to be here.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about that
before.
I'm
not 100% convinced of that.
I know. There's Bob Nightingale can tell me that Adley Rutschman still has trade value. I cannot fathom what Adley Rutschman's trade value is right now. Yeah. I don't think you can move. Yeah. I'm not saying I'd be opposed to it. Right. I'm saying I don't think you can do it.
He's got trade value. You're selling low, though.
Right, short of just saying we're giving up on Adley Rutschman and taking whatever we can get for him because it's just over. And that might be what Adley Rutschman's camp. I think a lot of people wonder if the Nightingale thing wasn't planted by Rutschman's camp to say, we think we're done here. We think it's time to get, to your point, a restart. But there has to be value for the Orioles. And maybe there is an organization that is still so high on Adley Rutschman that they will pay you Adley Rutschman's top value in order to get him. But I
don't know you deserve top value.
I don't think
for
you
him.
can get him. And
yeah,
that's, that's why I don't think you can trade him, because I just don't think you can take pennies on the dollar for Adley Rutschman right now versus trying desperately again to make it work next season.
You do that to me, you run the risk of another wasted season where you got this guy that you can't keep him just because you drafted him 1-1 and you need him to be something. You have to really believe that talent is still there, and it's been a long time since we've seen that talent.
I agree that it's been a long time, but
I hear the club spinning all the time that, well, his hard hit contact
earlier this year that was true. Early this season, it was up, but
I saw very little evidence of it. I saw an awful lot of pop-ups.
I mean, I'm not talking about like the last time we saw him. No, it was not there. But in April, there was a lot of hard hit balls. There really were a lot of hard hit balls, but they weren't falling, and that tailed off after he went on the DL, and it was gone again. It's a very difficult, if they internally just say it's over. Like, we are convinced he's done, then go right ahead and trade him for pennies on the dollar if they're convinced of that. But it's a hard thing.
I mean, I'm not saying that Sammy Basayo is a finished product as a catcher, and I want him catching 140 games, but we haven't had Rutschman catching 140 games. He's been like 115 games and 30 as a DH, and resting a little bit. I mean, they gave him a very judicious role behind the plate in terms of it was mapped out that they didn't want him overdoing it behind the plate, in these 3 years here, 4 years.
I hear you.
Do we know who's going to be making the lineups now?
What do you mean?
Who's going to be making the lineup card now? Will that still be Mike Elias? Or
Stop it. Would you stop it? You get up.
What?
Look,
trying to ask the real questions here.
I mean, look, to be clear, there's no reason for me to think that the front office will not still be involved in the construction of the lineups. Like, now, Mike Elias got very defensive about that earlier this year and said, I'm not the one writing the lineups. But then as we shared, the next sentence out of his mouth was explaining,
I write the lineups.
But I also have a lot of influence on the lineups. Like, it was a very weird, like, I'm not the one writing the lineups, but we have an advanced team, and they give a lot of information.
We're all trying to find the guy who did this.
There was some of that. Today's show is brought to you by Game Day Men's Health. You're like me. You just wake up one day. You're in your 40s. As a man, you say,
You're not in your 40s.
Very much
You're 50.
No, I'm definitely not 50.
Oh.
Very much in my 40s. You just wake up one day and you say, I don't know, man. I just don't feel right. I don't feel the same. It's hard to explain. And that happens to all of us. I thought I might be low T, so I went and got a complimentary testosterone test from Game Day Men's Health. Turns out, not the case. But that didn't mean that I was just going to wake up, I'm good now. I'm not low T. I'm fine. And so I've been using peptide proteins, and it's been great for me, and it's really helped get me going. That might not be the case for you. You might be low T, or you might be dealing with other issues that men deal with at a certain age, whether that's performance issues in the bedroom or stubborn belly fat that, like, you're like, dude, I work out, and it's just not coming off. That's Stan runs 6 miles every day.
Wow. Congrats, Stan.
He's just a man of a certain age. They can help at Game Day Men's Health at Owings Mills, Frederick, and Columbia. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Sign up for your complimentary testosterone test. Give them a call in Owings Mills, 443-264-4454. In Columbia, 443-266-3505. Or in Frederick, 240-931-3717. Stan, we've had all week to live in the disappointment of the Ravens' Week 1 loss to the Buffalo Bills. We have mostly moved on, although we'll still never fully understand when Lamar Jackson cramping and how that impacted the decision to go with it. That'll be something we'll probably talk about for years to come. The Browns have gotten all worked up this week, or folks out in Cleveland, about the fact that the Ravens are holding their 30th anniversary celebration, or 30th season celebration, and it happens to be against the Browns. That's been a thing this week. Grant Delpit says it's not hard to tackle Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry doesn't take the bait. He says we'll see. There's just a lot of – it's been a fun week of back and forth. In the end, this really is an important football game. And it sort of is reminiscent of what happened a year ago, where it was one thing to lose to the Chiefs on the road in week 1. It was a completely different thing to lose at home to the Raiders after that. And then it became a real, eye-opening, there's a problem here. For as disappointing as the Bills game was, and it was extraordinarily disappointing, and they will have to deal with this fourth quarter collapse thing throughout until they either win a Super Bowl or there's a new head coach. This is imperative on Sunday. They have to win this football
Well,
game.
I feel so comforted by the fact that John Harbaugh has vowed to start to look into why they have these late game collapses.
He's gonna look. They're
So
gonna.
he's
And
gonna
I don't know
look
if you
into
heard.
it.
They're also going to be more intentional. They're going to be more intentional with what they do. So
that was unintentional.
right, as
Some-
everybody knows, week 1 is not for intentions. Week 1 is for sowing your wild oats, baby. It's for Rumspringa. You know what I mean? Like, you just go out, you do whatever you feel like doing. To your heart's desire. Then after week 1, that's when you get intentional. You say, we intend to do things, and then we're going to go do them moving forward. So they've got that part figured out.
Don't you get paid doesn't he get $5-6 million a year?
Right, but
Wouldn't
not
you
for
think
not for week 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
it's not. They don't pay him
So
$5
he
to
just
$6 million
he just
for
picks
week
up
1.
his intentional.
Yeah, week
starting in week 2.
1's more like let's watch and let's see what they do.
Yeah.
And
let's
then,
actually hope that we have a collapse so we can investigate.
That's right, and then we can have more of a solution.
Because if they had just won, then they wouldn't have. Then
how do they build off?
Nothing
of
to
that?
work.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
How do you improve if you win the football game?
The expectations are always too high if you win.
That's a
all
great
the time.
point. Now everybody just thinks you're going to win the Super Bowl every year.
Keeping it modest.
That becomes problematic if you don't win the Super Bowl.
Can I ask an important question?
You can. Is it important though?
Yeah. Why do we have a graveyard of spittle-laden
Wasn't it obvious?
windscreens?
I believe that we were going to put those up on eBay, and we were going to say
Griffin's signing them.
Yeah, I think that's the plan. The plan
Jeez
is that we're going to put those up there, and we're going to see.
Do I have to step in and authorize a purchase of a couple new windscreens?
I mean, if you'd like to, you can. I'm not opposed
I didn't say
to
I'm
it.
paying for them. I said the company.
I think we also have the problem of I don't care if it's my own spit guard that's old and all that.
But you took my spit guard.
This is eternally what happens.
Yeah.
We then have different people using different microphones, and then you just go to the microphone and you do whatever you're doing. This is the way that it works.
This is Glenn Clark's spittle.
But this is the weird part. That's not. You see who's initials
It's actually
on that one?
that one's labeled. That's
That one's
interesting.
Paul Valley's. The host of the Batter
Oh,
Round.
my God.
That's his spittle.
Oh, my God.
That's his.
It's like you're making out with Paul.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to work at WCBM, and I'd come in, and the stench of working after Les Consalvi.
Oh, God.
His spittle.
All right, so I'll tell you 2 stories from the days of the old radio station. One issue we had was
Is that like a what's the word I'm looking for? Is that like the polite thing to do? You should bring your own spit guard.
well, that was always like at the old.
Well, they're not called spit guards. They're
Sure.
called windscreens.
Yeah, at some radio stations they have an actual screen in front of the microphone that doesn't really need to be changed out. But yes, in a lot of places, you would bring your own windscreen
I used to always
with you.
bring my own after Les Consalvi. I hated to even touch it.
At other places, they just specifically have black windscreens, so that no one can notice what kind of shape they're in.
They spray paint them.
So to the old radio station, there were how Griffin's obsessed. Now it's all he can think about.
I mean, I guess I'm really the only one that ever uses this one. So
sometimes I go
That
over
could
there.
that could use a new one.
you go over here.
Yeah, every now and then there were all we don't have any other shows really in the studio that you don't produce now, but there used to be shows that you that you didn't produce. There used to be.
Was that the Kyle Ottenheimer spittle?
That might date all. Well, if Paul was using that one, I don't think that
so
one dates.
Paul's was over there.
Probably, I assume. But did Paul ever work? No, Paul never worked in this building.
No,
no, you came with us to this building.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he did the bat around.
But he did the bat around. That's
for like
right.
a
But he
year
didn't do
maybe
this show,
from here.
so he wouldn't. Yeah, he did do the bat around from here.
Yeah, so that's why we still have it, I think.
So at the old radio station, we had you were supposed to provide your own spit guard and your own headphones, right? We weren't going to provide you the headphones. You had to bring your own because, again, we didn't want oils and stuff like that being shared.
We don't care about that here.
There were a few people that never brought their own headphones. So we had a female who worked as a producer at the old radio station. And
names?
She kept in her little cubby area at the radio station her headphones. And so inevitably, there would be lots of hosts that would come in, forget their headphones, and just steal hers. So she decided to combat it. She was going to
trap them?
bedazzle, cover them in pink, put like raccoon ear,
very
like,
clever.
like really go way over the top in bedazzling
so nobody would want
her
to wear.
headphones and making them look absurd. Right. Now the problem being,
it didn't work.
It did not change whether or not other hosts remembered their headphones, and so you might come in, for example. And I don't want to name names because I don't remember
Drew was
who it
wearing
was. You
some
might come in
ears.
and see like Bob Haney wearing over the top Barbie pink headphones.
Are there any pictures of Bob Haney?
There probably are somewhere. This is our friend Katie. I love Katie. Katie's a dear friend.
Right.
She would get so pissed off. She's like, I purposely attempted.
She didn't want to share heads with Bob Haney?
To be fair, I don't think she knew Bob. I don't think she really was bothered by Bob. Like it was somebody it was when there was when
you wore them.
No,
stranger came.
It was when there was like a weekend host that like we didn't know at all that she'd come in and see wearing her headphones. She'd be like, "What the hell? Like you don't even know me. Like I could have a disease. You just put on my."
Is that
headphones.
how diseases are transferred? Headphones?
I don't think so, but that was the point. And then the windscreen issue became a serious problem to the point where we literally at one point sent maybe like Ryan Shell out and had him purchase 700 windscreens.
Not 700.
700?
Like we had an entire.
How many hosts were there?
What's that?
Someone authorized.
They were just disappearing. Like we would just. Your windscreen you put back in your little cubby area, then someone else would take it. It would We just said. And then we'd get to a point where they're like, we can't find a single windscreen anywhere. So we said, go buy as many windscreens as you possibly can. Go to Guitar Center, go to, I think, Bainesville Electronics, go every
Depot,
place that might possibly have windscreens, buy them all, and then order more. So we might never run out of windscreens.
Got it.
Ever again.
And
then about 3 weeks
the
later,
radio station was closed. It was gone. Everybody was.
Is that the
I don't think
it
turned out that's why everybody got let go.
Yeah, no,
they spent
the entire budget on windscreens.
I'm sure Ryan paid for this himself.
I don't know. I don't even know that it was Ryan. I don't know who it. We might have been an intern that we just said, go find all of the windscreens in Baltimore. Go purchase every one in the state of Maryland that you can purchase, so that we may never deal. I don't never want to have another conversation about wind. This is when I was program director, and I was like, I am losing time in my day dealing with windscreens. This will never be the case again here. Buy all of them, every single one. If we got to pay $1,000, we got $1,000 worth of windscreens, and we're never talking about it again. We'll come back in. We'll talk some more Ravens. AQ Shipley, former Baltimore Ravens offensive lineman, thinks the Ravens have the best O-line in the NFL in Week 1. Don't forget the Maryland 5-star is back this October, so we're just weeks away. At Fair Hill, Maryland5star.us to get your tickets. It's not just a world-class sporting event. It is a great celebration of fall in the state of Maryland. The Maryland 5-star, Maryland5star.us. Feeling sluggish, unfocused, or not like yourself? It could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, we specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. Get started today with a free testosterone test and feel the difference. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Game Day Men's Health, where men reclaim their game.
For fans of the Costas Inn, and who isn't, I have some great news. Now there's a second location to go along with 4100 North Point Boulevard. This one is at the Timonium OTB. This is Stan the Fan, and I have been a fan of the Costas Inn and Triantafilos's family for going on 30 years. They're open for lunch and dinner. Same great Costas feel, same great menu and quality food you've been enjoying for well over 50 years. The exact address on your GPS is 2200 York Road, and their phone number at the new location is 667-406-1975. If you're new to the Costas experience, get ready for a real treat. All wrapped up in a new spacious dining room in Timonium at the OTB. If you want steamed crabs, you have them, and the full menu at 4100 North Point Boulevard. The number for reservations there at Costas, 410-477-1975.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Looking for Baltimore's premier waterfront dining experience? Head to Nick's Fish House, located in the Baltimore Peninsula. Enjoy crabs all year long, plus happy hour Monday through Thursday from 3 to 6. Planning a celebration? From rehearsal dinners to corporate crab feasts, Nick's is the spot to make it unforgettable. And the fun doesn't stop there. Live music fills the air every Thursday through Sunday. Check out the full lineup at nicksfishhouse.com. Nick's, it's where Baltimore comes to eat, drink, and play by the water.
Game day gets even better at Live Casino. Score a live jersey on September 6th and bucket hat on September 27th. Plus, catch our big plays, big pays hot seats on select game days. When the home team scores, the prize pool doubles. And we'll give away a $50 sports and social gift card with every touchdown. Take it to the end zone at Live Casino. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
Yeah, there was good news yesterday on the injury front for the Ravens as Nnamdi Madubuike returned to the practice field after he had missed on Wednesday, so it looks like he'll be good to go for the Browns on Sunday.
Is that intentional?
I don't know if that's intentional or not. I don't know if it was intentional, but it is good news. The bad news is still doesn't look like Pat Ricard or Isaiah Likely will be available for the Ravens this week. They did, for what it's worth, I actually thought that in week one, the Ravens got more than they possibly could have expected from a tight end who was lining up as a fullback off the practice squad. And I was really impressed by Zaire Mitchell-Payton, who was very helpful. And
was he number 84?
Yes. He was surprisingly,
I noticed him, yeah.
surprisingly
good blocks
for a tight end that was playing fullback in a pinch off the practice squad. He was very helpful. So we'll see if maybe that earns him a roster spot, whether that's in Baltimore or somewhere else here in the coming weeks. But presumably he will be used in a similar role on Sunday. And speaking of Sunday, Project Game Day returns following Ravens-Browns. Come hang out with us, pressboxonline.com/gameday. Myself, Rita, KZ, Stetka, and joining us once again this week, former Ravens linebacker Tyus Bowser will be with us on Project Game Day. PressBoxOnline.com/gameday. It's all brought to you by 1-800-GAMBLER, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, the Costas Inn, Game Day Men's Health, as well as our friends at Live Casino and Hotel. We will see you on Sunday. PressBoxOnline.com/gameday.
Is that Bowser thing like like an all-the-time
I
thing?
don't think he's officially retired yet, Stan, so we are taking it week by week is what I would say. I'd say as he's available, he's probably going to be joining us for Project
He's going to try and
Game
pull
Day.
off a Kyle Van Noy here.
But yes, if in the next couple of weeks he ends up being employed by somebody, then he's probably not going to be able to join us for Project Game Day. Probably not the way it's going to work. All right, joining us now here on GCR, he says maybe the Ravens' offensive line, if you were disappointed by particularly the right side, he, on the Pat McAfee show this week, thought it was the best offensive line in football for week 1. You know him from his In the Trenches segments. He's also a former Baltimore Raven and a buddy of ours. It's a pleasure to welcome back AQ Shipley to the program. AQ, it's Glenn. Stan Charles is here in studio with me today. It's always great to catch up with you, brother. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Always a pleasure, boys. Thanks for having me on.
So I watched the segment, and no doubt, right, like they definitely sprung some holes for Derrick Henry to run behind. Although, ironically, I thought one of his bigger runs of the game, there really wasn't a hole there. It was just Derrick Henry making some magic happen. I think a lot of us were concerned about the performance of both Roger Rosengarten and Daniel Fa'alele on the right side of the line in week 1. Did we maybe overreact to a certain couple of plays early on in the game?
Yeah, listen, I mean, I think when you look across the league in week 1, it was sloppy, and that is a product of not playing in the preseason, period. But having said that, there were only 3 teams that ran for over 100 yards, the Ravens being one of them. The Ravens having a 175-yard rush or 170-yard rush or whatever it was with Derrick Henry. And the right side had some sloppiness at times, but across the board, they were a hat on a hat. They were on the right guy 9 times out of 10. And they opened some big holes, especially the big one that Derrick Henry had late in the game, up the middle, the one that I put on in the trenches. I mean, that's a monster hole, but I mean, they did that pretty consistently throughout the game. And, you know, Fa'alele is always going to, you know, he's going to have a microscope on him. He's had a microscope on him since he's had that role. And Rosengarten, obviously being, you know, second-year young player out of Washington, he's going to have a microscope on it. But the one thing that people don't realize when you watch the tape, everything's easy to say whenever you're the fan and you're the Monday morning quarterback when you sit there and make these comments on a Monday morning, especially after a collapse, because, mind you, if they win 40-25, these comments aren't coming, first of all. Second of all, the collapse happens, and now all of a sudden we want to blame everything on that. And I think a lot of times when you look at the tape, Lamar Jackson escapes to his right. He wants to extend the play by running out to the right of the pocket. And when you're an offensive lineman expecting somebody to be in the pocket, that's where the pressure is going to come. Like if you're sitting there thinking he's going to be inside and now all of a sudden he escapes outside, that causes an issue. And then every fan's like, oh, that's the offensive line fault. That's not the offensive line's fault. There was plenty of times where I turned on that tape and Lamar rolls out to the right. Now, granted, you do not want to take that away from him because of his playmaking ability. But having said that, you know that that's a possibility of that happening, and that is not on the O-line. There's plenty of times where he could have just stepped up in the pocket and made a play.
So do you bring up the microscope that Fa'alele is under? Is that fair to you, or do you think overall he has proven that he's worthy of being a starting offensive lineman in the NFL?
I think his consistency level needs to grow.
Okay.
I think I will be the first one to say that. But I do think there's flashes. It's like I will compare this very similarly to a Mekhi Becton, right? Like early on in his career, there were some flashes, but there was also some inconsistencies. And then he gets with Jeff Stoutland, and the inconsistencies wash away, and the consistency becomes much more consistent, right? And so now all of a sudden he's a $10 million a year lineman, right? And I think Fa'alele, same thing. He's a former tackle. People do not realize how hard it is, first of all, to make that transition from tackle to guard, especially when you're 6'8" and you're playing inside against some guys. Heck, if you play against a Poona Ford out in L.A., I mean, Poona's 6 foot tall. So you're 6'8", you got to try and get under. Like, everybody can sit there and think you're 6'8", 370, you're massive, you should win every time. But listen, football is a very old school game, and at the end of the day, low man wins, period.
Yeah.
And, you know, whenever he's sitting there at 6'8", he's just got to keep working on staying low, bending. But at the end of the day, he still gets hat on hats and creates holes and does a good job. But, you know, and you're also playing, like, it's the same thing whenever you play with a Michael Vick, a Kyler Murray. There's so many of these, Lamar Jackson, obviously, right? Like, even old school Ben Roethlisberger used to try and extend and get outside the pocket and make these plays. But when you look at things like that, you're expecting the quarterback to stay in the pocket. And when he escapes, that's not the offensive line's fault. You're expected to create a pocket. And whenever they escape outside the pocket, you got to fight for your life. But that's who you're dealing with when you have that type of quarterback.
AQ, I'm not the greatest at watching line play. When the ball is snapped, I'm sort of watching the action, so I don't, and then I don't have the access to watching film. How good is Tyler Linderbaum to you?
I think he's a top 5 center, and that's probably selling him short. I mean, honestly, I think he's probably more along the lines of a top 3 center, and quite possibly could be top 2. I think when you look across this league, he is a premier center. He's phenomenal. His balance is impeccable. I think you can relate that to his wrestling days. Mm-hmm. When you watch him, his ability to run off the football and play in that zone scheme, which you can take that back to his Iowa days and Coach Ferentz. Coach Ferentz is an offensive line guy at heart, comes from the Belichick world, and he's a phenomenal coach. And so I think he had the great teaching. There's so many great Iowa offensive linemen that are either currently or former. Obviously, Marshall Yonda being one of them who I played with, right? And so when you look at Linderbaum, he has all those traits. His balance is impeccable. He runs off the ball. He's a little lighter, so sometimes when the Ravens are playing from behind and they get into a drop-back passing game, he deals with the same thing that Jason Kelce used to deal with. Not built to sit there and be one-on-one in pass protection for 40 times a game when you're coming from behind. But whenever they play with a lead and they have the run game and they have the play action, they have all the things, his ability to be a premier center is on full display.
When you have a center like that, what are the difficulties he faces being in front of Lamar? In other words, are there things because of Lamar's escapability that end up putting more pressure on Tyler?
I wouldn't say so much on him. I think, honestly, it's more the edge guys. Okay. I think the edge guys are sitting there. It's the 2 tackles that I think face the biggest challenges when you have a quarter. Like I'm calling games for the Cardinals now, and I watched it again live, boots on the ground in New Orleans this past week. And Kyler Murray does it a lot too, where he trusts his legs. He thinks that when he escapes, he's the best athlete on the field. I'm sure Lamar thinks the same thing, but there's times that can get you in trouble when you do things like that. Now, having said that, you take that away and you lose some of the dynamic playmaking that all of these players create, right? And so you don't ever want to tell them to stop doing that because that ability is there, but you just understand it puts a little tougher onus on the tackles because you're sitting there going against arguably the freakiest athletes on the field. All these DNs and pass rushers these days are 240 to 270 pounds. They can bend like the best athletes in the world. They can run 4.5s. They're burst and get off the ball. If you watch Micah Parsons last night, it's a cheat code, right? And so these guys are trying to go backwards, blocking them, and thinking that the quarterback's going to be at somewhere between 5 and 10 yards and sitting in the middle of the pocket. Well, when they escape and they're blocking for you to be somewhere and you're no longer there, and now all of a sudden they don't have eyes in the back of their head and you escape to one side or the other, they have no idea where that defensive end or where that quarterback is at this point, right?
He is AQ Shipley. He is with us here on GCR.
Good stuff.
AQ, I wanted to, because you brought up Poona Ford, and Ed Oliver is not that much bigger than Poona Ford, right? And Ed Oliver was to me the best player on the field on Sunday night. Is that to you maybe an example of it was just a particularly bad matchup because of Ed Oliver's size?
Listen, Ed played well. There's no question about it. But again, when you go back and watch the film, watching TV copy is one thing because all you see is the splash play, correct? Or you see the pressure that was caused on something one play or another. But let's just go back to the play where he causes the fumble on Derrick Henry, right? That was nothing that Ed Oliver did that was so explosive that nobody could block him, okay? So let's just break down that play over the phone right now, okay? Sure. So here's what happened. It's a pull play. So they are pulling Faalele. They are running a counter to the left. So there's a 3 technique on the outside shoulder of the right guard, who is Faalele, right? So the center's job is a back block. He has to block back and block Ed Oliver. And then Rosengarten comes down and takes a little bit of the edge off just to hold him long enough to help out the center, Linderbaum, coming back. And then he will then get back off on the defensive end, right? what you don't talk about is everything sounds great on paper, right? But the other team is pretty good too. The other team wins at times too, right? They blitz Bernard through the backside A-gap. You are taught as a sender, okay, cool, I'm going back to block Ed Oliver, but I also can't bypass color, right? And by color, I mean Bernard blitzing through the backside A-gap. It's 4-minute offense. So Sean McDermott has 9 guys in the box, and they're literally their whole goal is to stop the run. So they blitz Bernard through the A-gap. So now Linderbaum can't get back to Ed Oliver, and that's the reason why he makes the play. So it's not if they don't blitz Bernard there, which was, like I said, it's the defense wins at times, right? Like they called the right run blitz at the right time that knocks off Linderbaum from getting back to Ed Oliver, and then everybody wants to sit there and be like, oh, well, Rosengarten didn't do his job. Well, Rosengarten's job is not to block Ed Oliver on that play. It's literally just to come down, help until Linderbaum gets back, but Bernard blitzing cuts off Linderbaum from getting back to Oliver. Does that make sense to you guys?
No, I'm trying to rewatch it at the exact same time, and it does, and it's a lot to deal with. That I if I can follow it up, because obviously the Ravens are going to go up against Myles Garrett this week, right? And like, I asked,
is he any good?
I hear he's good. Does it? We just saw Myles Garrett like eat the Bengals alive last week. Like, what do you do when you're facing someone like that, AQ?
Yeah, listen, there's premier players in this league, right? And there's levels to everything, right? Like, I think we can say that about Derrick Henry, Lamar, plenty of players on this Ravens team. Like, there's good players, there's great players, and then there's elite players, right? Well, when you see these elite players, we watched one of them on full display last night, only had a half a sack, but he impacted the entire game. He had 8 or 10 pressures or whatever it was, right? So Myles Garrett's that same type of guy, right? And so when you look at it, it's tough because I used to play for Bruce Arians, who I think the world of as a coach, and he used to, his famous saying is like, hey, listen, offensive line, I know this week's a tough matchup, but you got to win. The reason you got to win is because back in 2005, I slid the line and I chipped on Javon Curse every single play, which left me only getting 2 guys out on routes, when in fact I should have just been getting 4 or 5 out, because even when we slid the line and chipped on him, he still got 4 sacks, right? And so like it's like you got to pick your poison at times when you play against these elite players, because you can change the entire game plan. And I've been in teams where you've had to do that with an Aaron Donald or a J.J. Watt or a Myles Garrett or anybody like that of that caliber. And but I think at the end of the day, you do have to respect them. You do have to have a plan for them. You do have to, whether it's sacrificing getting a back out, maybe keep him in to help chip. It's sacrificing the tight end out, keep him into chip, slide the line to him, do all these things, because if you let one player wreck the game, obviously that can happen. You can see that Cincinnati had 7 yards of offense in the second half. Now, having said that, Cincinnati's offensive line isn't very good either, so let's be very clear about that as well.
That's fair. AQ, before I let you go, if I could, just in general, we've made a lot this week about the Ravens and how this keeps happening with the fourth quarter collapses. I wonder if you can give us some perspective. Does this have an impact? Like, if this idea that something keeps happening, can it start impacting the way that you feel on the field? Can it translate to self-fulfilling prophecy? Are guys so singular thought that, like, if something goes wrong in a game, we're not thinking about the fact that maybe this happened against another team last year? What does this really look like to go through something like this?
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked that question, honestly, because I think this is something that has had to change in the last 5 years. Probably the last 5 years, I'd say. And I think the old school method, which you're catching a glimpse of it, of what the Ravens are doing right now, and 99% of the teams in the NFL still do this. But I do think that thought process has to change. And what I mean by that is, if you go back and you watch Herbert and the Chargers this past week, and you go back and you watch, which I broke down yesterday in my early talking points about Sean McVay closing out the game against the Houston Texans. I think all that needs to be said is this, is when the Ravens get these crazy leads and they're up 40-25 and you think the game's over, you take the foot off the gas pedal. Right? You take the foot off the gas pedal, you go into this 4-minute mode, and especially when you can lean on to Derrick Henry, right? Hey, let's just hand the ball off. Let's waste time. Let's control the clock. Let's hopefully get some first downs, and if not, let's punt it away and let's play defense. And that's part of, John Harbaugh's philosophy, and that's part of everybody's philosophy over the years. If you think about it, you watch all these teams, they get this lead, and then they run the ball 3 times against 4-minute defense, and they gain 3 yards, and they punt it back, and now the other team has a chance to either tie it or win it, right? I think that philosophy has to change, and I think you're starting to see it start to change, and that's exactly what Sean McVay did last week. He ran it, and typically you would run it again on 3rd down, but instead you got to be aggressive. You have to keep your foot on the gas. You have to go earn that win. You have to win it. You cannot sit there and play conservative and give the ball back. Does that make sense?
No, I think it makes complete. I think this goes back to the conversation that we've been having about the 4th down decision, which is that, like, maybe you're openly saying if we don't get this, we're going to lose the game because they're going to be in field goal range. And I kind of the opinion of, okay, yeah, you are going to lose the game if you don't get it. So go get it.
I agree. Yeah, so that's the thing. I think you have to keep your foot on the gas. I think you have to stay aggressive. And I think when it comes down to this in today's day and age, if you give anybody the ball back, heck, I watched Spencer Rattler, who there's not a single person on this planet giving him any respect right now.
Right.
And he gets the ball back with a minute left and no timeouts and takes the team down and almost wins the game. If you do not close out teams in today's day and age and give the other team the ball back with less than 2 minutes on, that is an eternity with how many playmakers and these good play callers that you have in this league. And so if you don't win it and close it out and finish with the ball in your hands at the end of the game, you will risk losing every single time.
AQ, I've got one more for you, and it's on the defensive side of the ball. What do you think happened to the Ravens in that game? They just put zero pressure on Josh Allen all night long.
Well, I think that's it's probably a fair statement to say, but I also think, like, there's 2 ways of getting pressure, right? There's a way of getting pressure with your front 4 and just rushing 4 and sitting back and playing coverage.
Yeah.
And there's a way of manufacturing pressure where you saw them run cover 0 on literally a had-to-have it type of play, and he hits Keon Coleman for the big play down to inside the 10, and they kick the field goal and they win the game, right?
Right.
So they tried it both ways. They don't have any premier pass rushers. Let's be clear about that, right? Like, I think they can get there because they got good pressure. Their 2 inside guys are incredible. If they don't get home and don't create pressure up the middle and then allow for the edge guys to have enough to make a play, then especially against a Josh Allen, and let's also talk about what they like to do in Buffalo with Josh Allen. They like to get him outside of the pocket, extend the play, create, and play backyard football a little bit, and he is phenomenal, probably one of either the best or one in the top 5 or top 3, whatever it is, at doing so. And so you have to also give credit to the other team too. Josh Allen's incredible. He is absolutely incredible. He's the MVP of the league. He's, a top 2-3 quarterback in the league right now, and he made plays when he needed to. But for the first 3 quarters, they did a pretty good job bottling them up. They did a pretty good job pressing the pocket and doing a nice job against those guys. But, I think you pick your poison, because if you sit there and try and manufacture pressure, you put your back end on man-to-man coverage, and you saw what happened. It's hard in this league to cover people man-to-man. Well, if you can't get home with 4, then you have to manufacture pressure and do those types of things. So it's just a caveat in the sense that they don't have a premier feared rusher off the edge. They're rushing the passer by committee off the edge, when all good players, but no one like a Myles Garrett or a TJ Watt, right? And so you have to try and win with your interior, and those guys aren't going to win every down because, you can slide the center one way or another and take care of a Matabuke, right? And so, there's interesting ways to go about it, but they just don't have a premier edge player, and in that, they're either going to have to win by committee or they're going to have to win by manufacturing pressure. And when you do that, you put the back end one-on-one, and we saw what happened there.
At AQ Shipley is how you follow him on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Of course, In the Trenches on the McAfee Show. I got a little investment in the Cardinals winning the NFC West, by the way. I don't know.
Ooh.
I did put a little before the season, just a little, on the Cardinals. I like Matt Stafford staying healthy all year seems suspect to me. And so, I don't know. I like the talent there. And I'm not going to try to read too much into one game, but I do like the talent in there.
No, I like the Cardinals group. I really do. I think it all comes down to the quarterback. Listen, every team comes down to the quarterback at this point.
Yep.
At this point. And, if Kyler Murray can take care of the football and not turn it over, the Cardinals will have every chance. The problem is that team in LA is pretty damn good when Matthew Stafford is clicking.
They're very good. I'm just worried about him staying healthy. AQ, you're the best, man. Always appreciate you, dude. Thank you for doing this.
Always a blast, boys. Thanks again.
Let's talk soon. AQ Shipley, who is just freaking outstanding, man.
He's very good.
I got to know him.
He likes to talk to me.
Yeah, right. He doesn't bail.
Know me.
There was actually, people don't know, there was somebody else lined up for today. I'm wondering if that might be what happened. Is they found out that you were here and they said, "Sorry, not gonna make it."
Thanks again, Stan.
Yeah, had the pleasure to get to know AQ when he was in Baltimore.
Might be best to downplay that I'm here every Friday.
Well, it's weird because there are some people that actually prefer when you're here,
right.
like one or two,
like Griffin.
But everybody else,
Griffin practically begs me to come.
Is that what happens?
Yeah, every week.
Stan's like, I don't know if I got it in me tomorrow.
Yeah,
Stan, come on.
But you know why that is? It's because he assumes if you're here that I can't physically abuse him in front of you. Like that's really what it is.
You're just gonna open up.
I didn't say I do that. I'm just saying that you assume that I can't. Like, the funny part is Stan actually was planning on starting that soon too.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah. He was like, I think today's the day we bring back
John Stan hanging out, right?
Yeah, right.
Are we in talks with Kyle?
I think we're okay there. I think we're all right.
He's still a member of the team, though, isn't he?
He does. He loves saying we. He just loves saying, "Hey, man, how we doing?" Like, well, is we? What is we? Stan, you're back in action on Monday?
Yes, I am.
Stan, Ross, and Luke every Monday talking baseball with you.
And the following Monday, special guest B.J. Surhoff.
Love B.J. Surhoff. Does he have an event coming up?
He's got the Pathfinders for Autism.
Love the work he does.
Their 25th anniversary is this whole year.
Yep.
So remarkable work for, to help those with autism.
Every Monday afternoon or early evening, Stan, Ross
5
Brimsley,
o'clock the next two.
Luke Jackson talking baseball with you live, Facebook.com/PressBoxSports. If you miss it live, YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline or PressBoxOnline.com/video. And as always, it's brought to you by the Costas Inn and the all-new Costas Inn, now open at the grandstand in Timonium. We'll come back in. We'll get a tidbit, get two-bit, or wind things down. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
For fans of the Costas Inn, and who isn't, I have some great news. Now there's a second location to go along with 4100 North Point Boulevard. This one is at the Timonium OTB. This is Stan the Fan, and I have been a fan of the Costas Inn and Triantafalo's family for going on 30 years. They're open for lunch and dinner, same great Costas feel, same great menu and quality food you've been enjoying for well over 50 years. The exact address on your GPS is 2200 York Road, and their phone number at the new location is 667-406-1970. If you're new to the Costas experience, get ready for a real treat. All wrapped up in a new spacious dining room in Timonium at the OTB. If you want steamed crabs, you have them, and the full menu at 4100 North Point Boulevard. The number for reservations there at Costas, 410-477-1975.
2025 Navy football single game tickets are on sale now. Don't miss the exciting home game schedule this year. The games feature exciting American Athletic Conference matchups, including the Commander-in-Chief rival Air Force on Saturday, October 4th. Don't miss all of the exciting action in historic Annapolis at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium, and get your tickets today at NavySports.com. Go Navy! Beat Army!
Game day gets even better at Live Casino. Score a live jersey on September 6th and bucket hat on September 27th. Plus, catch our big plays, big pays hot seats on select game days. When the home team scores, the prize pool doubles. And we'll give away a $50 sports and social gift card with every touchdown. Take it to the end zone at Live Casino. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Bo Smolko profiles Ravens running back Derrick Henry and how the football legend has proven to be a unicorn at the position with the success that he's found after the age of 30. Also inside, Brandon Schwartzberg looks at Kobe Mayo's push to find rhythm at the big league level. And we mark the start of the college football season by meeting players from all 4 FBS and FCS programs throughout the state. Press Box is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores. Or you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Feeling sluggish, unfocused, or not like yourself? It could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, we specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. Get started today with a free testosterone test and feel the difference. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Game Day Men's Health, where men reclaim their game.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
Well, that's weird. According to Brian Wacker, Isaiah Likely back at practice for the Baltimore Ravens, which would be very good news, although I struggle to think they'd let him, given how long he's been out, I don't think they'd let him.
Just a Friday?
That suggests to me that they've been targeting next week, and they just want to get him ramped up a little bit. But, I mean, who knows, right? Like, I guess it's possible. So Isaiah Likely back at practice today, apparently working solo with the trainer, so it's not, I think they're openly saying this is not him ramping up to play on Sunday. The weird part is that Pat Ricard remains out, and then Rashad Bateman apparently not at practice today. Now, that's also possible. It's just like an illness or something like that would have kept him out of practice. But
those calves are tricky injuries, Patrick.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
100%.
And you got to be very careful with that, or else you can re-injure that.
So yeah, that's the. We'll get a full injury report later on today, but that's the word from practice as to what's going on ahead of Sunday. Today's show brought to you by County Sports Zone. CountySports.zone is the website for you to find out everything going on in high school sports here in the state of Maryland. Every score, every schedule, every team, every sport, all throughout the state. They've got you. Every single one. They're not missing anything. Badminton, they've got it. Whatever is going on, they've got it covered. CountySports.zone. I don't know anybody that has varsity Tiddlywink stand, but if they do, County Sports Zone will cover it. Like, that's a promise that they will have that taken care of. CountySports.zone, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. What do you expect the Ravens are going to do with Joe Flacco back on Sunday? Just like a video?
Yeah, probably. This is his first game back
in
here.
Baltimore.
God, that is so
they
weird.
They played against him at a game in New York a couple years ago, but it is first time playing in Baltimore since departing.
They got so much going on.
They have a lot going on.
They got a lot going on, and it goes on fast in football.
They do. That's why I think it's going to be before the game.
Yeah.
They used to do it at like the first time out.
Right.
I think they try to do it before the game, maybe in warm-ups, like a nice video package for. The problem doing these things in game is if like you just fumbled the ball or something, nobody wants to like do the polite cheer. I think you do it before the game and just put together a video and welcome back Joe Flacco or something like that, and then that's it. That's it. Just going from there. And look, Joe Flacco's going to be in the Ring of Honor here in the next. Presumably, he's going to retire in the next few years, although I don't know, man.
Like he just keeps going,
Joe Flacco's
going and
just
going.
like, I don't feel like it. I'm just going to keep
$184 million.
Why would you stop?
Yeah.
Why would you stop?
He's got 5 kids.
The last time we had him on, I joked with him about it. I was like, there are people that think that you just don't want to go raise your kids. Like,
right.
You just don't feel like doing that. And he laughed and he said, there might be some truth to that.
How old are his kids? Like, does he have a 12-year-old now?
He did a thing with Aditi. Did you see? Can you find the thing that he did with Aditi Kinkabwala during the? So Aditi who works for CBS. She is part of the Browns preseason. They don't do what the Ravens do, where they put the radio broadcast on TV.
Right.
They have a specific TV broadcast. So Aditi is involved in their TV broadcast in the preseason, and she did this like video where she was out throwing the ball around with Joe and his sons. And one of his sons, and I couldn't tell exactly how old he is, but I'm going to guess like 10 to 12, something like that range. Like Aditi said something like, is it a big deal to you, like what your dad has accomplished? And his son is just like, I could not possibly care less about. It was a really good, no, he's just my dad. I don't give a crap about any of that stuff. And it's probably different. Like if Joe,
he probably doesn't remember him from Super Bowl
winning
times.
the Super Bowl, and it just doesn't resonate in any way. And it was just really funny. Hang on, I'll see if I can find it.
I'm having a little trouble.
I can find it. There's
Griffin's inferior to you when it comes to finding stuff.
No, this
is not
true.
true.
This is my error. The problem is it's like a whole segment. Oh, it wasn't for. It was for CBS.
Was it
a
on?
whole segment.
Okay.
I'm sending it to you right now, Griffin, but I don't know where the exact part of the interview is. But if we can find it before the show ends, we'll do that. Tidbit is brought to you today by Live Casino and Hotel. Best place to watch all of the big events every game day and fight night tomorrow night. I'll tell you more about that in Tubular. Always inside sports and social at Live Casino and Hotel. 100-foot media wall, great food, just steps away from the FanDuel Sportsbook. Live Casino and Hotel, sports and social. What? What do you?
My tidbit is it's not going to work.
Why?
Because my stat machine isn't working. It doesn't want to work. Let's do the Orioles the other night. From Sarah Lang's when they hit their fourth straight win with a walk-off. First team to have a walk-off win in 4 or 5 games since the last team to do this was 2014 when this team did it 5 times in 6 games. 2014.
How would I know? The Orioles.
The Nationals.
Okay.
The Nationals. That would have been the Nationals, of course.
Know that?
And this is the second time that the Orioles have done this. The first time that they had 4 walk-offs in a stretch of 5 games was
1997.
Close. 1954.
That's close in that it wasn't close at all. I see.
1954 was the first stretch in which the Orioles had
was
4 walk-offs in 5 games.
I think that's
Wasn't it?
exactly. But that's it's. By the way, I just think I
try
sent you the clip. I think I did. I think I got it.
And so I was gonna. So Aaron Judge hit 2 home runs last night. He continues to move up the home run Yankees board history. The leaderboard.
Tied DiMaggio last night. Didn't
He did. He tied DiMaggio, and he also is now 4th, I think, in Yankees multi-home run games. And so the internet does not want to tell me who has the most multi-home run games all time, but I know who has number 1. I know who number 1 is. Unfortunately, I can't do the top 5 or anything because the internet hates me. Who has the most multi-home run games all time?
Barry Bonds.
Yes.
I mean, that doesn't seem like that would be.
Yeah.
That's all you got?
That's all I got. I mean, I know who else is top 3 on the list as well.
Babe,
I know one of Babe Ruth is top 3. I don't know exactly where he is.
Here, I've got it. You guys can guess.
Babe Ruth?
By the way, according
Hank
to
Aaron.
ESPN, it's not Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds had 71.
Someone had 72.
Babe Ruth had 72. So according to ESPN, you're wrong.
Okay.
You're wrong. So they've got 1, 2, 3,
And
4,
ESPN's always
5,
right.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They've got the top 13. Have at it.
Hank Aaron.
Hank Aaron is on the list. He had 62.
Willie Mays.
Willie Mays, 63, is
How
definitely
about
on the
Eddie
list.
Matthews?
No.
Harmon Killebrew?
No.
Eddie Murray.
No.
Darn. We're striking out here, Stan.
Sammy Sosa?
Sammy Sosa, 3rd with 69.
Wow. All right,
Wow, he
Mark
was
McGuire.
Mark McGuire, 4th with 67.
Luis Pujols?
Not Luis Pujols,
I mean,
but certainly
Albert
Albert Pujols,
Pujols.
5th with 65. So
How
you've
many we
got
have?
the top 6 so far. And you've got Hank Aaron as well.
Okay.
Right.
So we've got 7 of the 13.
Actually, you
Frank-
know what? No,
Frank-
and Hank Aaron is tied for 7th. So you just need.
How about Frank Robinson?
Frank Robinson is on the list. He's got 54.
I'm going to guess, I'll take a little bit of a funny guess. How about Frank Howard?
Not Frank Howard, no.
Ryan Howard?
Not Ryan Howard.
Yogi Berra?
Not Yogi Berra.
Ted Williams?
No. How about no?
Mike Schmidt.
Mike Schmidt is not on the list.
Mike Schmidt is
Not on the list.
Ernie Banks?
Not Ernie Banks.
Man, all right.
Now you're
all
just
right.
There is
A-Rod.
one.
A-Rod.
A-Rod is tied with
A-Rod.
Hank Aaron for 62. So now everybody that had at least 60 you've got. You're missing 4 names, and Frank Robinson was one that had between 51 and 55.
Did one of them ever play for the Orioles?
41 and 55 is
of the others.
Yeah.
Aaron Judge then is on this list.
No, he apparently just got there, so this was from early.
What were the numbers? What's the low?
Low number is 51.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 51.
Okay.
No, none of these players ever played for the Orioles besides Frank Robinson.
How about Jim Rice?
Not Jim Rice.
Jim Tomei.
He just said it was nobody who played for the Orioles. Griffin. Literally just said those words.
I forgot he played for the Orioles.
Okay, well, that's fair. He did definitively. We were just talking about Jim Tomei.
I know.
Griffin and I were looking at the balls on Utah Street and trying to figure out what
then,
the most random name was of all the balls on Utah Street.
I like Lonnie Chisenhall.
Mickey Mantle's not on.
Lee Stevens multiple times is pretty.
Yeah, Lee Stevens multiple. No, not
Mickey Mantle's hurt too much.
There's one old timey baseball name of this group, and everybody else is very modern.
Jimmy Fox.
Jimmy Fox with 55. Maryland native Jimmy Fox. Is it Poolsville? Is that where he's from? Or Sudlersville?
Miguel Cabrera.
I think Sudlers.
Sudlersville? Not Miguel Cabrera, no.
How about Ralph Kiner?
I said that all the rest are modern.
All the rest are modern.
Someone who was in Baltimore recently.
Ken Griffey Jr.
Ken Griffey Jr., 55, tied with Jimmy Fox. Now we got somebody who's tied with Frank Robinson with 54, someone with 51, both of whom played for the same franchise. I'd say both most known for the same franchise. One fairly well known for another one, but I think both most known for playing for the same franchise in the modern era.
Shohei's on this list somehow.
Not Shohei, but I get it.
Also in Baltimore recently.
Jose Canseco.
Not Jose Canseco. The franchise is the Boston Red Sox.
Oh, Poppy?
Big Poppy.
Correct, with 51. Poppy. And the other is?
Of course, he's known for his time with the Twins.
Yeah. The other is?
Another modern Red Sox would be not Adrian Gonzalez.
Nope.
Not Jacoby Ellsbury.
Nope, definitely not Jacoby Ellsbury.
Not Stephen Drew.
Not Stephen Drew. Not quite as recent as David Ortiz, but modern.
Modern.
This century.
Modern. Not Mo Vaughn.
Not Mo Vaughn.
Nomar?
Also known as Cleveland Indian.
Manny Ramirez.
Manny Ramirez,
oh, okay.
of course.
Yeah.
Manny Ramirez is the other.
Is that everybody?
That's everybody. Well done. Did you get the clip?
Yeah, it only took us 30 guesses.
Yeah, right. I
11
think it was a little bit more than 30, but you got there eventually, and that's the part that matters. I believe this is the part of Joe Flacco's son no-selling him with Ndidi Kinkabwala on CBS, which was I enjoyed this tremendously. Huh?
All right, Daniel, do this for me. What would your dad have to do to not stink?
Win another Super Bowl.
Win another Super Bowl.
No,
that's it. That's where the bar is.
It's not the full
All right,
clip.
Daniel, do
that's
this.
a bummer. That's not the full clip, but that's good too, right? Like,
was it the one where they were at their house?
No, this is all they were just playing baseball. Like
I don't know. No, I'm saying, but the clip that you're looking for was it?
No,
this
this is from the exact same.
Oh,
it was in the exact same interview. It was in the exact same setting.
Well, because she's done multiple features.
No, I'm telling you, it was in this setting. It was they were playing baseball when they said it. It's fine. Life goes on, man. It's all right. Let's get Tubular. Tubular is brought to you today by the print issue of Press Box, which is still available at your neighborhood Royal Farms and the hundreds of locations around town where you find a Press Box. Read it all at PressBoxOnline.com. You got Derrick Henry on the cover. Great cover story from Bo Smolka all about how he's been a unicorn at the running back position after the age of 30. Go get that today. Orioles Blue Jays this weekend up in Toronto. Do you buy the Blue Jays, Stan? Do you genuinely believe the Blue Jays can win a World Series?
I think the bar in the American League is not incredibly high.
Oh, I'm still not convinced the Astros aren't like the team that wins the American League when it's all said and done.
Seattle moved into a tie with. I watched the end of that game last night. Went 12 innings, 2 nights in a row.
How about that?
12 innings.
How about that?
I think the American League's wide open.
Okay. So because of that, you buy not because of the Blue Jays, because of
right.
that, you buy the Blue Jays.
Yeah, I think they're capable of winning it.
I was planning on making a decision after this weekend of whether or not
if you buy the Blue Jays.
What is Bo Bichette's injury?
I don't know.
He's on the IL.
I do not know the answer to that.
He's on a 10-day IL.
We'll get the I-team on it. Tonight, 7:07 on Masson 2, Trevor Rogers, Chris Bassett, the pitching matchup. Tomorrow, 3:07, Tomo Sagano and Max Scherzer on Masson 2. And Sunday, Tony Mansolino said they're just going with a bullpen game. This would be Dean Kramer's spot in the rotation, so he just said whoever might be available for some bulk, whether that's Suarez or Enns, I'm
loosening my arm, Tony.
It might be Griffin Bass who's
get my
available
passport
for
ready.
some bulk. But they said they're going to go with a bullpen game against Shane Bieber on Sunday.
Shane Bieber.
And Dean Kramer apparently is going to pitch again this season.
That's Justin Bieber's father, right?
Yes, correct. Exactly right. That's his dad. Dean Kramer will pitch again, but it just won't be on Sunday.
He's probably older than Shane.
100, almost, no doubt. Well, I don't know.
About the same
I bet
age,
they're about the same age. Yeah, I bet they're about the
About
same.
30.
Tomorrow, college football, Towson, Maryland at noon on Peacock.
Let's go
is
Tigers.
Where you can
Let's
find
go.
that one. Morgan State, Toledo at 3:30 on ESPN Plus. Navy, Tulsa at 8 on ESPN Plus.
I guess because my Maryland over 4.5 would take quite a blow if
it would
Towson
be,
pulls
it would
off
be very
the upset
problematic.
here.
Be very problematic. Stevenson and Hopkins both have their home openers tomorrow. Stevenson at 1, Hopkins at noon. Of course, tomorrow night, Canelo Alvarez, Terrence Crawford, 8 o'clock. Coverage starts on Netflix. Ring walk scheduled for somewhere around 11.
Is that a boxing match or a
boxing?
Yes. They're both boxers.
They're both boxers.
Yes,
Okay.
Bud Crawford.
Yeah, but like Dana White's helping promote.
Yes,
so
Dana
I
White
can
is helping
understand
to promote the event.
understand
That part is true. And on Sunday, Browns-Ravens at 1 on CBS. The other local TV games on Fox, Giants-Cowboys at 1, Eagles-Chiefs at 4:25, and the Sunday night game, Falcons-Vikings at 8:20 on NBC. Everything else, go to GlenClarkRadio.com. Find it there. Griffin, what happens non-sports this weekend?
It looks like it's a knee sprain they're calling for Bo Bichette here, but it does seem like there's not a whole lot of extra concern. Yeah, like maybe it should be maybe about 2 weeks because they're also expecting Santander back at some point this month as well. So they're trying to figure out. They'll have to figure out how to fit the roster once Bichette and Santander are both back. Non-sports wise, we got Warfare streaming on HBO Max. That movie was good. It was a war movie with Will Poulter was in it.
Oh,
it was
I don't remember that.
It came out earlier this year.
Okay.
It was solid. It was solid.
Oh.
It was like in Afghanistan.
Was it Will Poulter or was it Jackson Holiday?
It was Will Poulter.
Are you sure? Because there are times where I cannot tell.
I think it was Will Poulter.
Right.
I'm pretty
You're sure.
We got The Wrong Paris on Netflix.
All right. We're not doing highlights.
Miranda Cosgrove
You're just saying
is
anything now.
in a rom-com.
No,
and
we're not doing this.
It kind of works. She's like, I need money to go, or she can't afford to get to art school in Paris, and then she's like, oh, I'll join this dating show that gives you a free trip to Paris for the dating show, but it's Paris, Texas.
Why are you talking?
And then she falls, but then she accidentally wins the show or at least I think she wins the show. Andrew Santino's got his comedy special out. If anybody's
he's been doing a lot of. There's been a lot of Andrew Santino in my feeds. This
Larry
week.
the Cable Guy.
Apparently,
also
they're
has
not doing another season of Dave. He finally said that's just over. But they've just been suggesting that it might happen. What are you watching over there?
I'm sorry.
You're just watching live traffic coverage.
No, it's Animal Store. Facebook animal
doing
things.
over there?
Stan, I need you to pay attention to my segment.
I didn't realize the sound was on. What are we doing this week in
You
the
realize
rest of
the sound was
baseball?
God.
No, Andrew Santino's got a comedy special, Stan.
All
Are
I
you gonna
hear is
watch?
horns blaring. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
How about Screamboat?
It was a deer. It was
I
a
believe
deer,
you, Stan.
And he had an arrow through him.
And he was walking it off?
Somebody fixed him.
Not a good sign for the future of Griffin Bass Radio.
Peacock has Screamboat, so I think this is all the Disney stuff is in public domain. And can you stop undercutting everything I say here?
Because we told you not to do this anymore.
What? It's already 12:26. What's the?
I don't want to be here at 12:26.
It'll be 30. Now it's got to go another 2 minutes because it could have just been 30 seconds.
We already lost him again.
Stan, I'm muting your mic.
He's going right back to the Animal Crossing. That's what you're up against.
Steamboat Willie is in public domain, so someone did a horror slasher film where Steamboat Willie drives the Staten Island ferry and he hunts and kills everyone on the boat.
I mean, I'd never watch it in a million years.
It looks real. It looks so campy. It's.
Have either of you seen Task yet?
No, not yet. New episode of Task on Sunday night.
HBO.
Been busy watching live traffic.
The Emmy Awards are Sunday night as well, hosted by Nate Bargatze.
I'll be busy watching Task episode 2.
Okay.
All right, very good.
I think that's everything.
Everything.
Oh, Doc, season 2. I don't know.
What you were Griffin,
I like Doc.
You do like Doc?
The folks at WBFF were giving away like prize packs at the Orioles game yesterday, and
For Doc?
Yeah, it was like Doc T-shirts, and Griffin saw
There's
it.
also another
and he was like, "Let's go get some T-shirts."
Where's some
So
Doc T-shirts?
I wanted. Oh, Griffin
You wanted, they
might
gave
have
us, they
thrown
only
them
had
in
the
the
small.
trash.
They all had the small sizes. It wasn't gonna fit us.
Griffin was like, "Let's go get some T-shirts," and then on
How
the
do
way,
you know what'll fit me?
I can just looking at you.
Uh-oh.
Well,
Just because you're so buff, Stan.
That's
You're
hurtful.
not gonna be able to.
I don't know.
That's a hurtful thing.
I mean, I guess if you wanted to, you could have turned it into a
It's
cutoff.
like telling Justin Bateman to do a podcast.
But if you turned it into a cutoff, it wouldn't have worked because then you would have cut off the Fox logo, which was on the sleeve for some reason, not the.
all I want is the Doc.
Oh, you just want Doc?
Yeah.
All right, well,
Could have brought it for Stan, Griffin. Could have given Stan a nice gift.
yeah. Surely
Instead-
let him down.
instead
Yeah,
you
Doc.
threw
No,
it
Doc
away.
is the
Threw it
doctor
away.
gets amnesia where they only forget the last 8 years, which is conveniently when they were in med school. So
How about
they
that?
forgot
That
all.
doesn't seem good.
No, that's not true.
That's not true. That's not how. Then
That's
you
not
give me
how.
the log line. Then Stan.
Doesn't seem.
She does
good.
have amnesia.
Yeah,
and
they-
it's unclear quite on how long, but she was already the head of the department.
So what'd she forget? She forgot.
She forgot. It's a lot of stuff she forgot.
Sell me on it, Stan. Come on.
She forgot.
Thanks today to Stan the Fan. Of course, follow him at Stan the Fan. Thanks to AQ Shipley as well. We'll get that up in the greatest hits section of the
Good. Good.
Outstanding guest. We're back on Monday. Don't forget Project Game Day Sunday immediately following the game. Come hang out with us.
Immediately following the game?
It is immediately following the game. PressBoxOnline.com/game day.
And don't forget tomorrow the
the 75
corral and
Colts.
the
Corral and the
75
75 Colts. BabeRuthMuseum.org.
at the Union Craft Brewery. from
You know who
3 to
are?
6.
We gave away a pair of tickets to that. You know who won those tickets? This is a straight shoot. Tony Thornton from WBAL won those tickets.
Wow.
Who listens every day and participates in all of our contests.
Speaking of traffic,
and has
yeah.
come out. Yeah, right. He's the Tony
Tony.
Thornton, and he's very excited.
Stan was just watching Tony Thornton highlights.
This is also a straight shoot. I've known Tony for years. One day I heard him on like 98 Rock say how old he was, and I was like, "There's no." You would look at Tony Thornton and say, "You're in your 30s."
28.
You would be blown away to find out how old.
50s.
I don't remember what the exact number is, but yes.
Starts with a 5.
Are we doxing Tony right
nuts. Well, he said it publicly. I remember texting him that morning, like, no, you're a liar. There is no way. Love Tony. Good guy. All right. Have a great weekend. Thanks to all of our great sponsors and partners. We will see you for game day on Sunday. Go Ravens.
Go Taos.
Go Birds. Go Maryland or Towson. Navy,
Towson
Morgan.
cover. Let's do that.
Stevens and Hopkins. Duke sucks.